I've never really cared too much about the Wonderlic scores, except at quarterback. And they are out, and they're good news for a lot of quarterbacks. Malik Willis got a 32, Sam Howell, 34. Not great for Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral at UMass. Kenny Pickett and Willis are who I'm going to talk about here. Kenny Pickett got a 17. That's not what you want to be. Malik Willis, who I think will go in the first round, got a 32. You want to be somewhere 27 to 33, 35. 27 or above, you're good. You know, I worry about low 20s. I really worry about a quarterback being in the teens. I don't really care about Wonderlic for any other position. But we know the best quarterbacks in the history of this sport. They're not the most talented. With Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Joe Montana, a lot of them aren't first rounders. A lot of them aren't second rounders. They're not the tallest, or no, they're not. So what does that mean? Well, there's a lot of factors to be a great quarterback. Like, at wide receiver, one of the factors that can really help is he runs well. But quarterback, as long as you have the requisite arm talent to just make the throws, then there's a million things that matter. And I've always said, really a key in the NFL, if you look at all the great ones, what the really great ones overwhelmingly have, not all, but most, they process stuff really quickly. The game has fewer and fewer huddles. Can you get stuff, like Mahomes admitted, the light came on at the end of year 2. Russell Wilson admitted, the light came on year 3. The game's fast, really, really fast. And it's faster now because there's fewer huddles, more plays, more offensive coaches. They demand more. So the question is, can you process stuff really fast? I worry, and I said this, I didn't love Kenny Pickett at the podium. I didn't think he was very good during the combine. I'm like, I don't like what I'm hearing. And I said I like Malik Willis. He's the podium matters to me. Baker Mayfield's bad at the podium. It has been established. Brady's been 23 years perfect at it. It's not happenstance. Is that Brady understands the fundamental CEO nature of being a quarterback. Baker, I contend Baker's a linebacker that plays quarterback. He's all emotion. On the personality scale, he's an 8, as they call it. He's all emotion. Very impulsive. Going to do it. That's not great at the podium. Sometimes you got to fall on a sword, eat it for the team. So when I see these Wonderlic scores, I'm sorry, I disagree with all the experts. I think they matter for quarterbacks. Not everything. Not a huge thing. It's something. It's something. I don't want my quarterbacks in the teens. I don't love it. Don't love it. I want them 26 up. Nah. And again, I say this all the time. Nothing is everything. Everything's something. It's something. And so this is more good news for Malik Willis. And by the way, there's another story this morning. And my scouts, they like Malik Willis. My scouts think Kenny Pickett's a deep second, mid, third-round quarterback. Somebody will reach, not a first-round quarterback. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, said Monday, multiple coaches have told him, Malik Willis, only quarterback in this class with true NFL traits. I've watched them all play. That's what I think. I thought Kenny Pickett during the year, I kept watching him saying, okay, that works. I do think Kenny Pickett can play in the league. But as Joy said earlier, I don't think he can elevate a bad situation. It's very Daniel Jones. If he gets the wrong GM, the wrong O-line, it's over. It's just not going to work. Malik, I think, could get through some of that stuff because he's so dynamic the way he pushes the ball down the field. And I do think Carolina at 6 makes sense. But, don't really care about Wonderlic. A little bit with quarterbacks. A little bit. Tiny. Kind of. Just a little bit. All right. Greg Olsen, Kyle Halsey in the NFL. There's a story. The Packers are interested in trading for Darren Waller. It comes from Cheesehead TV. All right. You can kind of figure out what direction that blog is interested in. Why would the Raiders trade him? He's only a $7 million cap hit. Why would you let him go? The new Raider coach, Josh McDaniels, knows the value of tight ends. He had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. So, yeah, I think Green Bay would like to have Darren Waller. Who wouldn't? But this is a classic. Why would you leak this to a team-friendly blog? Because you can, right before the draft, tell Aaron Rodgers and their fans, look at how hard we're working. We are uncovering every rock to find the next great player. If it really is this close, then why would it leak? We would just find out when it was done if it's this close. For the record, Derek Carr made fun of this move today. Jeff Howe at The Athletic poo-pooed it and said, they wanted Darren Waller in the Devontae Adams thing, and the Raiders wouldn't give it up. Listen, Green Bay's in a very clear space. They're in a fingers-crossing mode heading into the draft. They need to get one of these top receivers. They have 2 picks in the first round. I'd move both to move up and get one if I really liked a wide receiver. But right now they have old Sammy Watkins, older Randall Cobb, young kid, unproven Amari Rodgers, and Alan Lazard. That's not good enough. That's just not good enough. I mean, one of those guys will get banged up because it's the NFL and you always lose a receiver, right? So this feels like kind of a one-sided report from a team, more team-friendly, somebody with connections in the team. But, teams know who to leak stuff to. They do. And they know, who's our ally, who's our enemy. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it happens tomorrow. I'm paid to give strong opinions. I'm wrong often. But the idea the Raiders would let Darren Waller go in a division now with Russell Wilson and all sorts of weapons, Kansas City Andy Reid Mahomes and all sorts of weapons, they'd let go of maybe their best weapon. I mean, Devontae Adams is on the perimeter, but Darren Waller is the Raiders may never get a tight end this good for 15 years, 20 years. Like, he's just not a guy that I would let go unless he was a wild cap hit, $7 million, not, or he was all beat up, end of his career, not. Makes no sense to me. But it makes sense for Green Bay to get it out there. That part I totally get, which is, hey, we are this close. I mean, we are knocking at the door of getting the second best tight end. I get that. Teams know who to give information to and when it will get out and who's an ally and who's an enemy. The current uncertainty through the world is leading to big losses even today in the financial markets. You're seeing it today. Gold and precious metals always maintain their value over the long haul, providing you with some stability and a hedge against inflation and stock market risk. The market correction is going to continue. Our friends at Legacy Precious Metals are here to walk you through how gold protects your wealth and can secure your family's future during unsteady times. Today, the market, unsteady. Legacy Precious Metals, their experts advise you how to roll your existing retirement account into a gold IRA. They'll explain how gold appreciates in value as the dollar depreciates. You can even hold metals in your home, gold, silver. Many people do. Our friends at Legacy Precious Metals. Call them today, 866-674-HERD, 866-674-HERD, or download their free investor's guide. Where? LegacyPMInvestments.com. Don't leave your retirement to chance. LegacyPMInvestments.com. Positions you don't. And you don't want to overpay for any position. But suddenly in the last couple of months, wide receivers have just started making quarterback money. It's like almost, you've heard of a housing bubble. It's like a wide receiver bubble. Like, we know they're valuable, but I mean, good God, the 19, 20, 30 million a year. It's like, whoa. We have housing bubbles. We have market bubbles. I do think we have a little bit of a wide receiver bubble. So the Niners have Deebo Samuel, and they're in a tough spot. George Kittle is great, but he gets banged up. Brendan Ayuk has been really inconsistent, so he's probably always going to be a 2. And they don't really have a 3. Now, they do run the football better than almost anybody. Their coach is really smart. He elevates everybody. And the Deebo Samuel situation was kind of tricky. So Deebo, people tend to forget this. It's recency bias. Deebo is not a dependable 12-catch-a-game guy. He's erratic. He has 1-catch games. He has 9-catch games. And so San Francisco thought, how do we make him more consistent? We'll add him into the run game. And voila, they found the secret sauce. He runs a little. He receives a little. Now he's a big-time player. But he doesn't want that, right? He doesn't want to get banged up like that, and I understand it. But he's not Stephon Diggs. He's not Jamar Chase. You don't get the same receiver every weekend. So they thought, let's add an element to his game with our great coach, Kyle Shanahan. This will now make him a wildly productive player. And he's like, okay, if we're going to do that, I want to be paid now, I want to be paid early, and I want to be paid most. So now we got a real issue. John Lynch talked about this and said, we love him. We don't want to let go of him despite all the rumors you hear.
I can't ever imagine, wanting to move on from Deebo. You put yourself through the exercises of, you, even though we don't have a first-round pick, you have to be thorough in this process and prepare for everything. And so you go through and do that. He's just too good of a player. So we've got nothing but love for him. and nothing but appreciation for what he's bought. But you just don't let guys like that walk.
So let's just think about this for a second. Let's just talk wide receivers broadly, holistically here. Kansas City and Green Bay. You and I, everybody would admit, Kansas City and Green Bay, these are well-run teams. They really are. They're well-run teams. They have said, we can't pay $30 million for a receiver. We can't pay. We're going to let him go. Well-run teams have said, we just can't do it. Who spent big money this offseason on wide receivers? Jags, Dolphins, Raiders, and the New York Giants have the most expensive wide receiver room in the league. We all get receivers are important, but I'd like to repeat those teams that are spending a fortune. Jags, Dolphins, Giants, Raiders. And I'd like to repeat the teams who are actually getting value out of receivers, seeking, a little budget constraints. Green Bay, Kansas City, and the Rams. The Rams went and got Allen Robinson. They went bargain shopping and kind of stole him.